video classes for the student of Institute of English of Latif University, Khokhar. These video lectures cover the whole scope of English literature, and you will find videos for the subjects of drama, fiction, novel in 18th and 19th century, and American literature as well. For watching more videos on literature and awareness sessions, keep on watching my video channel and subscribe my channel. I thank you all and I love you all. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. With the presentation of online video classes, I am Ibrahim Khokhar, this time presenting a class for the student of PS4 literature. The writer is Robert Frost, and today's session is about one of the poems of Robert Frost, The Road Not Taken. I have already mentioned in my previous videos about Robert Frost that this poem, The Road Not Taken, is a very important poem that is replete with symbolic meanings and that presents before us the ways to decide the difficult decisions of life. As far as the rhyming scheme of this poem is concerned, this poem consists of 4 5-line stanzas, and each 5-line stanza has a very beautiful rhyming pattern. That is, first line rhymes with third and fourth line, whereas second line rhymes with fifth line. I will be reading the poem and will be sharing with you its critical appreciation and analysis. The Road Not Taken. Before I start reading this poem, let me tell you that in everybody's life there comes a difficult situation where he stands and thinks about his future journey. The writer presents beautifully a scenario of a forest where there are 2 roads that diverge, and a lone traveler, a single traveler, stands in the middle to decide either to follow the road to the left side or to follow the road towards the right side. And Robert Frost tells, 2 roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry I could not travel both, and be one traveler long I stood, and looked down one as far as I could, to where it went into the undergrowth. Now see the rhyming pattern. Would, stood and could means first line, third line and fourth line rhyme with each other, whereas the second line both and fifth line growth rhyme with each other. The writer presents before us a scene. The 2 roads diverge in a yellow wood. The season seems to be the season of autumn. That's why woods have been described as yellow, because leaves have turned and worn the yellow color. And then there are 2 ways, and sorry I could not travel both. It is human dilemma. Human beings have to opt for only one option. A single man cannot opt for 2 options at a time. This is what poet tells us in this line. He says that sorry I could not travel both. So what he does, he and be one traveler long I stood and looked down one as far as I could. And now the poet stands there. Poet doesn't make hasty decision. Poet doesn't try to make decision out of whims. He measures, weighs, diagnoses, calculates the risk of taking decisions, and then he would finally decide what to do. So he says that I stood there, I am measuring each and everything to where it went in the undergrowth. He looks to the far away of that road, the far away of that path where his eyes could see. And then in the second stanza says, then took the other as just as fair, and having perhaps the better claim, because it was glossy and wanted wear, though as far that the passing there had warned them really about the same. Now see once again the rhyming pattern. Fair, where, there, rhyming with each other, whereas second line claim and the fifth line same rhyme with each other. The poets tell that then took the other as just as fair. After examining the first path, the poet also looks for the second path. Means he did not decide hastily about any path. He calculates the things and having perhaps the better claim. And then he feels that the second path has a better way to go. Why? Because it was grassy and wanted wear. Means it was grassy as if nobody has traveled it. It looked fresh. It looked smooth. Though as for that passing there had worn them really about the same. And then in the third stanza the poet tells that, and both that morning equally lay, and leaves no step had trodden black. Oh, I kept the first for another day, yet knowing how way leads on to way, I doubted if I should ever come back. Now in this stanza, the third stanza, the poet, after measuring, weighing, analyzing, calculating the risk of both the roads, both the paths, he decides to opt for the second path. He says that that morning it was the toughest choice of life to opt for any path, because on that particular day nobody had taken any of that road. So the poet stood clueless there. But there he uses and utilizes his logical reason. So when a human being is devoid of any choice, he need to opt for his logical reasoning, because human mind may guide human being in a better way. So the poet, trusting his mental faculties, decided that he will opt for the second path, whereas he left the first path for the second time. And he says that I will opt for it in my next journey. Now he is not sure that either he will come back again to opt for that road or not, but he decides to opt for the second road. Now in the final stanza the poet will tell that what happened to his choice, what he decided, and what result he got. The poet tells that I shall be telling this with a sigh. Somewhere edges and edges hands, two roads diverge in a wood, and I took the one less travelled by, and that has made all the difference. The poet tells us that that day, after marrying, weighing, analyzing the risks and everything, he had opted for the second path. And he had opted the second path because he felt as if nobody has taken that path. And opting for the difficult path, opting for the difficult choice, opting for the choice that was less travelled by, that was not opted by others, made difference in the life of poet, and poet got success and he easily reached his destination. This entire poem has this theme that man has to follow those roads, those difficult choices that are less travelled by, because following others sometimes makes us simply a follower, but opting for new trends, opting for new paths makes us trendsetter, makes us leader. So if we want to become leader, if we want to make difference in our life, we need to follow those paths that are less travelled by, that are not opted by common persons, because your their choice, your different choice, your difficult choice, your choice that is well calculated, make you a leader, and that creates a sense in your life, and that makes you a successful person. This is the theme of this poem. I hope that you have got this poem, and you will go through the text and then we'll try for the symbolical meaning. The entire poem is symbolical. These roads are the choices of the life, whereas the traveler is the person. He has difficult situations to face. He has difficult options to opt for in life. This is what everybody has to face. Thank you very much for watching this video. Analyzing the second poem of Robert Frost, Stopping by Woods on a Snowy Evening. Ladies and gentlemen, in my previous video about Robert Frost, I had told you that Robert Frost is a poet of nature, but his treatment of nature is different from the treatment of nature by William Wordsworth. Robert Frost doesn't eulogize nature the way William Wordsworth does. For William Wordsworth, nature is a place of tranquility. For Wordsworth, nature is teacher and nature brings tranquility. For Robert Frost, the concept of nature is to bring mobility, and this is what clearly mentioned in this poem, Stopping by Woods in a Snowy Evening. Now this poem is very common poem. This poem has a very beautiful rhyming scheme, like all the poems of Robert Frost. The rhyming scheme is no, though, here. Snow means first, second and fourth line rhyming with each other, whereas the only third line is free. Robert Frost tells that whose woods these are, I think I know. His house is in the village, though he will not see me stopping here to watch these woods fill up with snow. Now in this 4-line stanza, Robert Frost tells that he is passing by woods, and let me tell you again that woods, forests and natural scenic beauties are the repetitive themes, repetitive symbols used in the poetry of Frost. So Frost tells that he stands in the middle of the woods, in the middle of forest, and then he knows the owner of the forest because he is well acquainted with him. But the owner of the forest don't realize, don't know that he stands there in the middle of that evening, and the woods are full of snow. Now snow is again another symbol used by Robert Frost. So Robert Frost tells us in second stanza that my little horse must think it queer to stop without a farmhouse near, between the woods and frozen lake, the darkest evening of the year. Now in this stanza, the poet tells us that his horse might have wondered that why the owner of the horse has stopped amid the woods without any destination, without any farmhouse near, because there is only frozen lake, and that was the darkest evening of the year. So it was a bit strange even for the horse that why a traveler stands there to enjoy this serene beauty. Now if Wordsworth would have written this poem, he might have enjoyed that beauty and might have preferred to stay there. But now, as I have told you earlier, that the treatment of Wordsworth and treatment of Frost is different for nature. For Frost, nature is source of mobility. So we will see that Frost will not stay there. So what happens in the next stanza? The next stanza, Frost tells, he gives his harness bell a shake, means the little horse, he gives his harness bells a shake to ask if there is some mistake. The only other sounds the sweep of easy wind and downy flag. He says that horse shakes his hand and his harness bells make a sound, and that is the only sound that is heard in that serene atmosphere, along with the sound of flakes of snow falling there. And then the poet decides, had there been Wordsworth, he might have preferred to stay there. But we have Frost. His treatment of nature is quite different. For him, nature is the source of mobility. Nature is source of action. So he decides, and these are the most famous lines in literature and are the favorite lines of all the great writers. Frost tells, the woods are lovely, dark and deep, but I have promises to keep, and miles to go before I sleep, and miles to go before I sleep. He says that the woods are beautiful, they are loving, they are dark, they are deep. There is every way to stop you to enjoy that beauty. But for Frost, beauty is not supposed to be enjoyed alone. Beauty is to instill in you the vitality and force of action. So he says that, but I have promises to keep, because life has lot of problems to face, life have lot of challenges to achieve, life have lot of actions to do. So he says, I have lots of promises to keep and miles to go before I sleep, and miles to go before I sleep. Before this life ceases, before this life ends, a man has to do a lot of things. Enjoying beauty like Wordsworth is not the mission of Robert Frost. For Frost, this beautiful nature provides you the soothing effect, but this soothing effect is not healing one to make you sleep there. It is to rouse action in you, and it motivates you to perform different tasks of life. And this is what we learn in this poem, Stopping by Woods on a Snowy Evening. Hope you got the message of this poem.